Hello there and welcome back to my tutorials on 3D sound in VR. Today I'm going to talk about how to export your mixes and finally implement them into a deliverable form. So first, once you have your project all set up the way you want it, and when you play through, sounds exactly as you like, you're going to start to export both the 3D sounds and the 2D sounds separately. So here we have the 3D master track and the headlocked master track. Before you do anything, in the control plugin, you're going to want to look and make sure that decode binaural is unchecked. You leave this checked while you're mixing so that you can hear how it would sound, but you don't want that, that stereo decoding to go over to your final mix, which will be in 8 tracks with the format that they've arranged here. So, once you've done that, you select first your 3D master or your headlocked master. It doesn't matter the order in which you do this. Select render. You'll make sure that your source is stems, selected tracks. The bounds would be the entire project or a certain time selection if you only wanted a certain time period. And you check the duration just to make sure entire project didn't span well out beyond the end of your project. And select your file name and directory, and make sure that the channels are set to 8 when you're exporting your 3D mix. And you'll want 24-bit PCM wave, that's the highest quality Reaper allows. And make sure that you don't have a tail. And that is just about it. We will render. And of course, I'll overwrite because I've already done this process before. So, then we will proceed to do the same with the headlocked master. And once we've done that, we'll use the FB360 encoder to merge the two into a into a .tbe file, which we'll be able to use in Unity along with our 360 video. This is going to take a while, so I'll just cancel it for now. And we will, on our next export with the headlocked master, we'll do roughly the same thing. Stem selected track, entire project. We will choose a different file name. This is one with music. You want your channels to go down to 2 or stereo. Again, no tail, 24-bit PCM, and the rest of the settings will be fine by default. And I won't overwrite this one, simply to save time, but you get the picture. Now, we're going to navigate to the FB360 directory and open up the encoder. So our format is going to be .tbe for Unity. And as you can see, our only option then is the Spatial Workstation 8 channel, which is good because that's what we've done. Our spatial audio file is going to be the Hawaii 3D. And our stereo file is going to be the with music stereo file that we created. Or didn't in this case. And then we simply click encode. And then we'll say Hawaii sound with music. And I'm not going to replace that, but that's exactly what you would do if you were doing this for the first time. So now you have your .tbe file. If you don't have it already on your computer, in the Dolly Lab drive under 17S PsychVR project, we have a Unity project folder called 360 Video. You're going to want to download that. And once you have, you'll open that up in Unity. you'll click open and navigate to whatever directory you have it in. And I already have this project open, so we'll just navigate to that. So in the assets folder, one of the scenes will be called a new 360 video. You will double click on that to open it up. And let's talk about this scene for a moment. It's very simple, only 3 objects, only 2 of which you need to worry about. This TB audio engine here is just just works in the background to make sure the audio is spatialized as intended. Now on the main camera, there are 2 scripts to worry about. One is the spatial decoder, and this is where you will put in the name of the audio file that you create. So let's talk about the files that we're using for a moment. In the folders and assets called streaming assets, you'll want to place your video and the .tbe audio file that you created. So let's do that now. Let's say I'll put in this 5-minute demo, which will take just a second. And then I will find the TBE file. Here it is, Hawaii Sound with Music.tbe, and I will put that in there as well. Now, when I go to the main camera, it asks for the audio file to be placed here. So this is Hawaii Sound with Music. And I'm just going to check I've typed that correctly. It looks as though I have, but that's been the source of endless errors for me in the past, so it's always good to check. Now, the sync audio script you can just leave there. What it will do is just what it says. It'll make sure the audio is played in time with the video. Occasionally there's a bit of a lag opening the video while the audio will play immediately, so that's just a belt and suspenders to make sure that you don't get out of sync. And then we'll do the exact same thing on the media player control script. We will say we want 5-minute demo .mp4, check that I've typed that correctly, I have, to be played on the video sphere. And what this sphere is, it's just a very large 3D sphere that surrounds the main camera, so that when you press play, you're looking all around, and the video that you select in this script here will get splayed all over the sphere around you, as you'll see shortly. So at the moment, it's taking its movement cue from the Oculus. So let's just look around with this. But you can hear the sound playing. There's no music yet. That comes in at about 1.5 minutes into the scene to give it a chance to ramp up. But you can see that it works. Now, oftentimes, there are problems that will appear in the actual build that won't in the game view. So let me just talk about some of the requirements that you'll need for the video that you use here, because they're important. So if you find your video, we'll just show it in Explorer. You can check its properties. I'm going to stop this. So there are a few important things that you need to make sure are the case in your video before you use it in this Easy Movie Texture plugin that runs this scene. First, you need to make sure that its resolution is no greater in any dimension than 4K. This is a very safe one, 3840 by 1920. The length can be as long as you like. 15 minutes was what we did customarily for our PsychVR project. The bit rate should be no greater than 60K. Often you won't go that high with a 15-minute video because of size constraints. That would end up being around 10 gigs already. The frame rate should be 25. You can experiment with 50, but 25 will multiply evenly into 75 frames per second, which is what the Oculus runs at natively. So it looks best, looks smoothest. And that should be about it. You'll want to make sure it's in an MP4 format. .mov is not supported by the plugin. And at the moment, and you might wonder why I'm going through all the trouble of using Unity to play back a video with spatial sound. At the moment on the Oculus, this may change in the future, and by all means, research and see if this is the case. There is no other way to play back a 360 video on the Oculus and have ambisonic audio running at the same time. Specifically, ambisonic audio that is head-tracked, meaning that as you turn your head, the audio will seem to stay in place with respect to the scene. In other words, if a car is to your right, when you turn your head to the left, the car will not stay to your right, it'll move behind you. That it can be done on the phone with the Gear VR through a different method, but at the moment, this is the only way to do it on the Oculus. So, that's that. And then once you have everything all set and running, you can go to your build settings. You will make sure to click Add Open Scenes just so you can see the scene if you haven't built it before. Select your desired platform, and you can build. It'll prompt you to find a location, and then if you save it there, storage fast A, we can do that. Shouldn't take too long to build this. And then once you build it, it'll give you a directory with one folder and one exe file. You just have to make sure that I saved it as no music by accident, but that's fine. The music's still there, the name is just different. It gives you a directory and an exe. As long as these two are in the same folder, you could ignore this, it was already here. As long as these two are in the same folder, when you double click the exe, it will run your scene. And it's still going to be using the Oculus for direction. So I'll just turn that about once it starts playing. Ah yes, something actually has to be inside the Oculus for it to run. One moment. Here we go. And there you see, the scene runs perfectly. You can use it with the Oculus, and you are effectively done. You simply deliver the directory and exe pair to your client, and they can run the video whenever they like. The downside of this scene is that it's very basic. There's no fast forward, rewind, skip ahead features. You can add those in if you like and you have some proficiency with Unity. Won't be too difficult with the Easy Movie Texture plugin. But yes, that is delivery in a nutshell. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this video has been helpful.